Hi everyone, welcome to Live Healthy with Bev. I'm Bev Haynes, and today I'm in the kitchen whipping up a delightful, nutritious, delicious, totally delicious garden spread. Do you love cream cheese slathered on your bagel first thing in the morning maybe, or coffee break at work? Well, this garden spread is a kind of cream cheese, but it's even better. Better for you in so many ways. First of all, it's plant-based, so you're not going to get any of the saturated type of fats that you would get with the animal-based cream cheese. And this one is chock full of goodness. We've got carrots, celery, red onion, wonderful herbs and spices. We've got cashews, we've got sunflower seeds, we've got everybody's favorite, garlic. And so this is going to be so amazingly good. Let's get started. First of all, we've got our cashews, and I've soaked them for about 2 hours before using them. We want to soak them because we want to get rid of any enzyme inhibitors that are going to make it difficult for us to digest the goodness of the cashews. And secondly, because I'm going to be whipping it up in the blender here in the Vitamix, we want it to be softened to begin with so that it comes out nice and creamy, nice and silky. So, done that with the sunflower seeds, the cashews, but as well, I've got sunflower seeds and I've done the same thing. I soaked these for about 2 hours, and that's going to make them much more bioavailable for your system to digest and absorb the nutrition that's in them. Now, the original recipe called for just the cashews, but what I like to do is when a recipe calls for cashews, I like to do the half and half with the sunflower seeds because it's going to cut down on my cost. That's the big factor. And because there's virtually no change in flavor because you're still going to have that silky goodness of the cashew. Okay, so first things first, I'm going to put our liquids into our Vitamix. You've heard me talk about Vitamix before. I love my Vitamix blender. If you are in the market for a blender, you want to get a high-speed blender that can do the things that the Vitamix or the Blendtec or some of those other high-speed blenders can do. Because this guy, horses. I'm talking horsepower. I'm talking mega horsepower. And so it's going to just whip everything quickly, silky, silky smooth. It's also going to make soup and all kinds of stuff. So if you're in the market, consider one of the high-speed blenders. You can make your smoothies, your sauces, your soups, your everything, your spreads. All right, what we're going to do is we're going to put our liquid in first. We want to do that so that it makes it easier for the blender to do its work. So the recipe calls for about 1/3 cup of water. I might need to add a little bit more, it just depends. And also 1/2 cup of lemon juice. So I've got my freshly squeezed lemon juice here. I'm going to pour it in here, and this is going to give it some nice tang. Not too much. Okay, so I've got 1/2 cup of lemon juice. And you might have heard me talking before about lemons. Here's your lemon right here. You want to be purchasing your lemons whole, fresh, and using them as you go along. You don't want to be purchasing the bottled stuff that's got all kinds of extra stuff in there that's not so good for you. Also, let's talk about storage of your lemons. You know, if you just leave it out there, it's going to go bad pretty soon. So a good thing to do is to put it in a sealable plastic bag and store it in the fridge. That's going to extend the shelf life of your lemon. Also, lemons are typically waxed for storage, for shelf life. What you want to do if you're using the lemon peel in your recipe, which we're not doing today, but if you were going to do another recipe, you'd want to rinse this lemon under hot water to loosen up the wax. Take a vegetable brush, brush the wax off. You're not really going to see it, but it's there. And then finish off with some cool water. That's if you're using the lemon peel, like if you're going to do like a tea, for example. So our little lesson about lemons, and of course they're high in vitamin C, fantastic antioxidant properties, so many good things with respect to lemons. So we've got our liquids in here. Now we're going to add 1 cup of cashews. Oh, another thing, when you're doing the nuts, we want raw, unsalted. We don't want processed nuts. Raw, unsalted nuts is what we're looking for. All right, so let's get our cashews in here. We know that cashews are good with iron. That's good for your immune system. We know that there's vitamin K2 in there. That's good for blood clotting. Hold on, let me just even this out. There's magnesium, there's phosphorus, fiber in your cashews, fiber in your sunflower seeds. All right, let's add the sunflower seeds. Okay, and again, we want these raw, unsalted. So you're going to get that in the bulk food section of your store. There we go. Okay, so we've got that happening. And then we want to add a tablespoon of minced up garlic. So when it comes to garlic, you know what a garlic bulb looks like. That's the whole garlic with all of its cloves inside. And then each individual clove, this is the clove as opposed to a bulb of garlic. So what I've done is I've minced it up. Now, a nice little tip for you, if you want to get all the fantastic benefits of garlic, and let me tell you, there are pages of benefits of garlic. So amazingly good for us. What you want to do is you want to take your clove, put it on your cutting board, and use your knife or another flat object or your hand if you're really strong, and squash it. Squash that clove of garlic. And that is going to start the process that is so fantastic for you. What's happening here? You've squashed it. You're going to leave it for about 10 minutes before you use it. And in that 10-minute time period, some of the enzymes in there are going to react with oxygen in the air. The alliinase enzyme is going to react with oxygen to produce allicin, and that's that fantastic, pungent, medicinal part of your garlic. Garlic is so amazing, let me tell you. Okay, so a tablespoon of the garlic, minced up garlic, goes in to this mixture here. This recipe is heavy on garlic. Of course, you don't have to use as much garlic as I've got in here, but if you want to, just have it so flavorful and medicinal at the same time, you'll want to use all the garlic that's in here. There's 3 tablespoons of garlic in this recipe. So 1 is going in here. Okay, what else do I need in there? I need a teaspoon of my Himalayan salt. And I like to use the Himalayan because it's got those wonderful trace minerals happening. So much better for us than just regular iodized table salt. And I love the pink color, it's so pretty. Okay, so we've got our sunflower seeds, we've got our cashews, we've got our water, our lemon juice, we've got our Himalayan salt, and we've got some garlic. Now we're going to get the horses going. So here we go. Now what's going to be happening here, I don't have a lot of liquid in here in comparison to the amount of nuts. It's going to thicken up very quickly, and I'm going to need to use the tamper. And I'm going to be using the tamper because I want to keep the vortex going. When I turn the machine on, it's going to start pulling everything towards the middle, spinning everything around, that vortex action. And so once it gets too thick, it's going to kind of stall. And so that's when I'm going to come in with the tamper, and I'm going to do the sides just to keep the vortex happening. All right, so you'll see that happening in just a second. Okay, so let me just put this little cover part back on. It's going to make a lot of noise because it's got a lot of horses. So hold on here. And you want to start it off nice and slowly and work your way up to full speed. You don't want to shock the system of your machine here. It can take it, but you want to be gentle with your Vitamix. This is quite an investment, so you want to be gentle. So you work your way up, and then you work your way back down when you're finishing up. Here we go. Okay, so I didn't have to do a lot of tampering. That means I had sufficient water. I hope it's not too much water because I want this to be nice and thick. So let me just do a little bit of a taste test. Oh, it's so amazingly good. Okay, I think that'll be fine with respect to the texture and the consistency of it. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, I've got this wonderful bowl. Let's see, I need some more space. So let me take some things away here. Okay, don't you just love the red color of this Vitamix? I want to thank actually Thelma Davis for donating this Vitamix to the Rutland Church. That was so awesome of her. I have a red Vitamix at home as well. Let me tell you the story of how I got that. I had a television program in Toronto I was doing for about a year, and on one of the segments I invited the Vitamix representative to come and do a demo for us. And he came and he brought a red Vitamix. And at that time I already had a Vitamix, but mine was not red, and I love red. And so on air, I said to him, "Oh, wow, how gorgeous. I would so love to have one of those." Well, wouldn't you know it, a week later, they called me up at the station and said, "There's a package here, a box here for you." So when I went in to do the show that week, lo and behold, the Vitamix guy had sent me a red Vitamix. How fantastic is that? So it just goes to, prove it never hurts to, just hint at things that you'd like to have. Somebody just might take you up on it. So thank you so much to the Vitamix guy. I'm just taking out just a few seeds that I didn't push down far enough. Okay, so now look at this. Hold on. You see that it's nice and thick. It's not really going anywhere, so it's a really good consistency for our cream cheese spread. Now, this is the part that my husband does really well. I have little patience for trying to get all of this out. And so I get some of it out and then he gets the rest out. But he's not here right now. Okay, so look at it coming out. Beautiful, beautiful. And it's so creamy, silky, smooth. There's still a lot in here. The really neat thing about these high-speed blenders, the Vitamix, well, I know about the Vitamix, I don't know about the others, but they will self-clean. You just put some water in them and a little tiny bit of dish detergent and put it on the clean cycle, or put it up on high, and it will whiz all the stuff out of itself and clean itself for you. Okay, hold on. Just getting a bit more. Oh, this is so good. So good. Now, you might have seen another video that we did with respect to the sour cream. So it's kind of the same recipe almost for this portion of it, almost. This one uses the fresh garlic. The sour cream one uses the powdered garlic. Okay. Oh, but I mean, right now, as it is, it's good enough to just eat. Okay, without adding all the other things that I'm going to add. Okay, so here is where all the good stuff comes into play. We're going to add, this is a 1/4 cup of minced red onion. And we wanted to use the red onion because it gives that nice pop of color. And of course, as well, the red part of it, antioxidants happening. So we know that onion is so amazing for our good health. Builds up our immune system, it cleanses stuff in the body, antiviral, antifungal, anti all kinds of things. Okay, so that's that. We're also going to add some minced up celery. And again, it adds a nice little hint of green, a nice little bit of crunch, and some wonderful sodium. This is natural sodium. This is the kind of sodium your body can use really well. Just have to make sure we don't get too much sodium from salt. We've got to really lower our salt intake. Most of us eat way too much salt in our food. And now the carrot. Look at the gorgeous color. We're putting, hold on here, 1 cup of grated carrot. I forgot to bring out the grater to show you, but I don't grate this on the fine part of the grater. I grate it on the next one up. So, because if you do it on the fine one, it gets really watery. So what I do is I do it on the next one up, and then I chop that, I mince that. So now we're just gonna work all of this in, but I'm forgetting something. What am I forgetting? I'm forgetting the additional garlic. So another 2 tablespoons of garlic here. And I know that this is 2 tablespoons, so I'm just gonna dish that out. Now, usually I like to use I think it's called Xylus, that's the brand. I'm not, touting any particular brands, but I've used quite a few garlic mincers in my life, and I find that that one is the best. It gives you a nice fine mince, and it also gives it some nice juiciness as well. So, but today I didn't have that, so I did it by hand. Just make sure you do it really, really fine, because you want it to add all of its flavor without people biting into chunks of garlic. Unless you love chunks of garlic, and that's fine too. Okay, let me get rid of these things. Okay, so I've got this happening. I've added my minced. Ooh. The nice thing about this is the coloration of it. Just so wonderful. And of course, the nutritional aspect of it is out of this world fantastic. Okay, now we're going to add some dill. And you could add fresh dill or the powdered, or actually, that's not my dill, this is my dill. Or if you don't have the fresh, you can just use the dried one. And so it's going to be, let's see, what is it? It would be 1/3 cup of fresh dill if you had it, or a tablespoon of the dry dill. But you know what? I've just used my tablespoon here, so I'm going to use the teaspoon aspect of it. I use much more than a tablespoon of the dry, let me tell you, because I find that it just flavors it so wonderfully. I use a little more than that. So I use even upwards, well, let's say 1.5 tablespoons to 2 tablespoons of the dry. Right now, the fresh dill isn't in season, so having to use this one. And also, this recipe calls for dulse and kelp. Do you know what those are? Those are seaweeds. And I have some at home and forgot to bring it. We live quite a distance away, so I wasn't able to just run home and get it. And I couldn't find any in the superstore or any of the stores, or even in the health food store. So they're not too easy to find, but if you can find them, they make a wonderful addition to this cream cheese. You don't use too much of it. You're only using like about 1/4 teaspoon of each one, but it just gives it a depth of flavor. It doesn't give any kind of fishiness at all, just a really nice depth of flavor, especially the dulse. I especially love using the dulse. Dulse is that nice purplish kind of color, and I just forgot to bring it, but you don't have to use those. So we're just going to be using salt. Okay, so let me put a little sprinkling of salt in here. And then we'll taste it and see. You add salt to whatever taste you like. But see what it's starting to look like already? With all the dill in it, and it's got the nice little chunks, like the little minced chunks. Okay, so let's have flavor. You can really taste that garlic. Yummy. But I think it could use a little more salt to it. So let's do that. Okay. And let's just see. And also, when you put this into the fridge, it's going to firm up a bit. This is kind of plops, so it's not as thick as I would want it. Perhaps next time I make it, it would be a little bit less of the liquid, but still, it's going to be amazing. Okay, let's try this one. Yeah, definitely, that's okay. Okay, what I'm going to do, I'm going to put in, I didn't put all my carrot in, just a little bit more. I'm just going to squeeze that just to make sure I don't get more liquid in here. Okay, so I just add a little bit more carrot to put in there. Excellent. Okay, you could even, you could put in, and I think I'm going to do that actually, just for a little bit more depth of flavor. I'm going to put in some onion powder. What is this, a 1/4 teaspoon? Yeah, just for depth. It's not really going to add flavor, but it will add some depth. Onion powder, garlic powder, those are two of my favorite herbs, spices to use. Okay, this is looking so pretty. One more taste test. Okay, very nice. All right, and so what we're going to do then, I've got my plates here of rice crackers and my knife. And we're just going to put, there you go. How pretty is that? Some on there. And these make wonderful appetizers for your party. And yeah, what you do is, though, you would put it in the fridge to let it just firm up a little bit before you use it. So good. With the vegetables in there, you just can't go wrong. You've got carrots, you've got celery, onion. You could even chop up peppers if you wanted to, like a red pepper or something, to add more nutrition. And that's what it's all about, increasing the nutrition in the food that we eat. That's what it's all about. All right. Look at that. Beautiful. So satisfying. It's got the fiber from these various vegetables that we added, plus all the antioxidants, all the nutrition. Oh, fantastic stuff. Okay, well, we'll have the recipe up so that you can see all the ingredients. But in the meantime, feast your eyes, and enjoy all of this goodness in good health. We'll see you next time.